The individual data law has its antecedents in a profound idea, analogous to a jungle, from a jungle to a cultivated garden. A jungle where many different types of species and animals clamor and fight to overtake, to reach the sun and to survive. And calamitous behavior and unruly and tragic towards those who lose their existence in the jungle. As opposed to a cultivated garden where weeds are taken out, species are identified as being useful, they're cultivated, better parts of the species are cultivated, and there is an order of priorities. And the order of priorities is guided by the imagination of the gardener. And in this case, it needs to be the imagination of the human individual at the top of the species, the species of all beings, at least from our perspective. Our personal imagination must be primary, the primary source of emanation of all else. And in that way, it is required that a law governing the security of our imagination, the security of our will, and all the knowledge and information which grows on top of our imagination and our will. The very foundation head of this structure, this philosophic structure, the philosophic structure that distinguishes between a jungle and between a cultivated garden. A jungle, which could be a jungle of powerful and strong beings, of companies, of wealth, of politicians, of institutions, or a cultivated garden with a hierarchy, where the hierarchy is the individual human imagination. And that philosophic distinction is very important for lawmakers when they consider how to legislate an individual data law that protects data connected to the individual will and measures the data towards achieving the individual will, not the will of others exploiting the individual, but the blooming of individuals and an ecosystem that allows and feeds the species of the human mind, of the human will, of the imagination as a species, to grow it and to cultivate it. And in that, everything else will fall into order, because the human imagination wants the existence of other species, but not the domination of one over another. And so that the individual data law and the ordering of the hierarchy, where the individual is at the crown of everything emanating from it, and that all data is subservient to the individual, and that subservience is measured so that all data works to, first of all, solve individuals' personal problems, and then goes to empower them to communicate with others for the purpose of their individual imaginational empowerment and their group empowerment, and to measure that, and to incentivize the data being clean of foreign elements which exploit the individual, and rather it is there to serve the individual. And that is the function of lawmakers who have the humanity against against their as the apple of their eye, the service of humanity through a law which legislates and creates a subservient relationship between data and the individual imagination.